Congratulations, you have decided to purchase Elite Dangerous. What are these things you're seeing? Don't worry, here I'm going to help you. So, at the start of your adventure, you're going to be chosen on the main menu. You're going to have a choice of the Horizon Sidewinder or the normal Sidewinder. Pick Horizons, assuming you bought Horizons. You'll land on a planet first. So, this is what you'll be greeted with. First things first, go to your options menu. This is for keyboard people. So if you have a HOTAS, you don't need to fucking care what I'm doing, but match, hold on, clearly I'm on drugs, match everything as I have it here, so make your experience much better, and it'll be much more helpful for you to just know what controls I'm using, so we're on the same page. If you don't like these controls, change them a little bit, but for this episode we'll only be doing flying vehicles, not the SRV. The SRV by default does not, also don't know why that isn't bound already. By default, none of these are bound. Okay, so keep wary of that. So when you go there in your SRV, you will not have anything bound. Handbrake, yeah, whatever. Let's just X. Yeah, that's good. None of these will be bound. Alright? So, now that you've done all that, press the middle mouse button and you'll be able to look around your cockpit. You will have a different ship. You will have a Sidewinder. So it'll look vastly different than mine, but this will be helpful, just get a view. This will be helpful during combat. Alright, first things first, you want to press 1. This will bring you over here. This gives you multiple tabs that are very important. Navigation. This will show you all the areas that you can travel to currently. When it gets into the light years, that's the frame shift drive jumper. Anything that isn't, you will be doing in normal mode, the flying around, cruise mode. Okay? You just click on it, and you lock destination and go there, and it will come up on your HUD. Okay, over here, galaxy map. By default, if you also press M, this will also bring it up. Here you can see the entire galaxy. As you know, it is quite large, and we only inhabit about this much, give or take. This is all helpful. You can go around, you can zoom into like the most random star, like good old Zunoi QXA D162. Okay. System map. By default with us, it is O. This one takes up a little bit longer to boot up. Not really sure why.
Don't ask me.
This will give you a brief system overview. Okay. There's your sun. If you want to see what interesting properties it all has, click here. Tell you what kind of star it is, class K, and some information about it. It's just a general asteroid belt, very common. Now here, if you notice, this has this blue thing with the city on it. If it has these 3 bars, then it means there's cities on it. If it doesn't, such as this one, you can land on it, but there are no cities, so be very cautious. Okay, now you want this information here for all these planets. Right now we're on Apilla 2. Okay, this is what's mostly important, the gravity. If it's anything above 2 Gs, be very cautious how you land. You will do more damage to your ship if you are not careful. That's why we've chosen only a half gravity. Okay? So, if it has this, you can zoom in. You can zoom in normally anyway, like right here, to these planets, but here we're going to zoom into this. You're going to be given the map of the planet. Now, there are multiple different places. If you see this is a city, okay? The city, it will tell you all the information, Its economy is a colony, it does some exports, some prohibited stuff, whatever. It can tell you what you do here, okay? These you can land at with your spaceship. Or you can land here, request docking and all that. These you cannot. Okay, these ones you have to land manually, and these are dangerous because some of these places will try to attack you. This one in particular will not, but these two will. If it has a plus, it has security. So be careful. If you are neutral or hostile towards these people, they might attack you if you get too close. But right now we're at Clifford Vista. I know it's pretty funny. Alright. So here we are. That's this. Galactic powers we really don't need to care about now. Transactions. This will tell you all this stuff. If you have bounties, if you have a fine issued on you, if you have a bounty on yourself, you will learn it here. You cannot pay it off here, but this will tell you all the information about it. Contacts. This will tell you all the things that are coming up right now within your radius. For me, I think it's about 5.5 kilometers, or whatever it is. If you see anything like this, these are spaceships. Could be players, or it could be NPCs. You need to scan it. If it has the letter CMDR, meaning commander, it is a player. If it has a name, it's not a player. Be cautious of players. Sometimes they will attack you. Okay? These are drones. These normal sentries and guardians are not. They're fine. They're very easy to kill. Goliaths are very dangerous. They will even damage your spaceship significantly, so don't fuck around with them. Alright? And FSD wakes tell you that people left this place recently. Alright, now we press 4. This will tell you all your status. To the left, combat rank, trade rank, explorer rank, CQC rank. These will all tell you your ranks in the Pilot Federation. You know, where you are, your rank. Highest is elite. You can see all the information down there. Now, balance. This is the amount of money you have in your bank account. Very important. And the rebuy cost. You always want your balance to be higher than your rebuy cost. Rebuy cost is 5% of whatever you bought for your ship. Okay? So mine was, I think, 31 million? I forget exactly what the number was. 50 million? I forget. You know, 5% of that, 2.8 million, added on with all the extra stuff I have on it. So I'll tell you if you have a local bounty and your local reputation with just everyone. Okay? You pledge your allegiance to someone, but we don't care about that this episode. Major factions. These are the 3 major factions in the game. You have the Federation, you have the Empire, and the Alliance. Federation and Empire have ships and allow you to rank up. Alliance does not. Alliance only gives you access to certain systems and, you know, money and stuff like that. Okay? System factions, it's very important. It says independent next to their allegiance. You can do whatever the fuck you want to them. Okay? If they have this, whatever, you know, here we can see Opala Ltd. Has the symbol for the Federation, so they are allied with the Federation. So whatever you do to them, the Federation will realize is to them. So if you attack them, the Federation may become a little bit pissed off at you. But independent factions, they don't matter. Okay, you can go to the next one by pressing D, seeing the system status. This will tell you of all the factions here. So if we go to Opala Ltd, we'll realize it's a corporation. Okay, so it's a business-oriented organization that's been incorporated as per the Federation Charter of Free Commerce, and the representatives of a corporate entity and is seen as such as the law. Okay, so they can participate in government and ultimately become the owners of the system. Okay, then you see like a mob. This is an unfettered group. It's essentially a mob. Who would have thought? They don't care for laws. If they take over the system, it's in complete anarchy. Okay, this is a corporation. This is a dictatorship that wants to take control of the system. Right now, they're second most important, and is the people's, their democracies. Press D. We go to finance. This will tell you all your balance, your insurance, all this. Pretty important. Next one, statistics. This will tell you all the information. Like right now, if I were to sell everything, I'd have nearly 72 million credits worth of stuff. This is just basic information for you to know. You know, like, I've spent over 200 hours this fucking game so far. Permits, very important. Over time, you will get permits to certain systems with specific factions. Here we have the Achenar system permit. This is my only one right now. This one allows me to travel to Achenar, the home system of the Empire. Alright, we're back here. Press E, so go to modules. We really don't need to care about this. This will tell you all your information about your energy, your use of megawatts, all that fun stuff. We don't need to care about that right now. Next one, fire groups, very important. So, when you're shooting, 1 is going to be your right side, so it's going to be your left click. 2 is going to be your left side, so it's going to be right click. Hope that made sense. Utilities, we have already bound that to specific keys, so we don't need to care about that. If you have more than one, thing, you can add another fire group set. It's a pain in the ass. Inventories will tell you whatever's in your inventory. Right now I have nothing, but I have 144 tons that I can carry. Materials, this will tell you everything that I've collected on the surface. We don't really need to care about that now. Synthesis, this will just show you stuff that you can make. Okay, functions, this just tells you basic stuff about your ship that you can turn on or off. Okay, you can turn up the interface brightness. You can do some pre-flight checks, which, nah, we don't need to care about that. Okay, but you will have that when you first play. So it'll tell you where everything is in case you forgot. Alright? So that's that. 3, down here is your SRV. We won't touch this episode, but if you deploy it, you'll get out of it and be able to drive around. Here just tells you your ship, in case you somehow forget what your ship is. Okay? Here's the main stuff. Okay, so here we have Clifford Vista. So we have a few options here. We can launch, we can return to the service, or we can go to Starport Services. We want to go to Starport Services. We're greeted by this. It's just loading up the interface. So you can see your ship name, hull, all this fun stuff. If you can refuel, it'll allow you to refuel, repair, and reload your weapons. Restock that you can do it manually. Repairs you can do manually. Here we have bulletin board. This allows you to take quests from factions. So it'll take a few moments to sync because it's new stuff every time. So if you it refreshes every 10 minutes, or if you go leave open play and go to solo play, leave solo play, go to open play, it'll give you new sets. This tells you all the stuff. We won't be touching this episode, but lots of money and stuff, so just pay attention to that. Contacts, very important. Local security office. If you have a fine, you can pay off the fine here. If you have legacy fines, which will happen after 6 days, you can pay them off here. If you have bounties that you collected, you can get them here. These will happen if the place, the system you're in has conflict zones between two factions, and you help them and you kill people, you will get these vouchers. Then you can pay them. Power contact. This is just forever whoever you're with. Okay. In addition, there will be another thing here called the black market. If you have illegal goods in certain areas, certain outposts and whatever, will allow you to sell your illegal goods here. Okay. Outfitting. This is very important. This will give you all your stuff that you need to know for your ship. Livery. This is basically just decals, colors you can put on your ship. But we want to care about power use. You will always want to make sure that your deployed usage is less than your available. If it's more, you'll have a very tough time firing your weapons. Okay, cargo capacity, pretty self-explanatory. Fuel capacity as well. Your mass, you'll always want your mass to be fairly okay. You don't want it to be too much, because then it'll just take harder to move and all that fun stuff. Your jump range, so this will just tell you how far you can jump with your frameshift drive. Like, I can jump 14.36 light years, but if I have 100 and all my cargo capacity, I can only jump 12. Okay, internal. Your alloys, this will just determine your stuff. Just get either reinforced or military. Do not get the other two. Okay, so this will allow you to reinforce your alloys. Power plant. This obviously just increases your power usage. Thrusters makes you go faster and be able to turn more efficiently. Frameshift drive. Boop. Life support. This is determining basically if your cockpit gets busted out and it's a vacuum, your pilot will deploy a Remlux system. It's similar to like an airbag. You'll only have by default, I think, 5 minutes of oxygen before you die. So you immediately have to go to a station. I recommend upgrading it to 10 minutes. You don't really need to go with the 25 minutes because you'll get to a space station faster enough. Okay, power distributor. You always want to upgrade this. Okay, always make it a little bit better. Also, there are there are classes. Okay, you always want to make sure these two numbers are the same. If it's not, you're not utilizing your ship to the best ability. Like I'm not down here. Okay. And there's classes, A being the best, and I think it's like F being the worst, or E. One of the two. So you always want to try to get like an A. Alright, sensors is just clearly how far you can detect people. Okay, for me, well, I think it's like 6. Fuel tank, this is how many tons of fuel you can have. You'll get a good idea of how it is. Cargo rack, self-explanatory. Shield generators you can actually remove. I recommend you do not. unless you are a trading vessel or you are an explorer, in which case you don't necessarily need shield generators. Okay, hull reinforcement packages, self-explanatory, makes you a little bit more powerful. You can take more shots. Shield cell banks, you can use these to replenish your shields when they're almost down, and bing bang boom. Fuel scoop, these will allow you to pick up hydrogen fuel when you are near a sun, so you do not necessarily need to go to an outpost to refuel. Planetary vehicle hangar, this is new. These three things are new with Horizons. Okay, you want to buy one. By default, you will already have a planetary approach suite. I don't know if you'll have these by default with your Horizon Sidewinder, but if you do buy the planetary vehicle hangar, if it's up to class 2, you will only be able to have one vehicle. If you're at class 4, you can have 2 vehicles. And if you're at class 6, you can have 3 vehicles. It's up to you how many you want. Hard points, pretty self-explanatory. These are where all your weapons are going to be. Okay? You might not be able to tell where these weapons are, so you can just go out and you can just see where all my weapons are. 1 at the bottom, 2 here, which are my cannons, and 2 back here, which are my other lasers. Very important to realize where they are. Okay? This symbol means they are gimbaled. Gimbaled are probably the best guns, generally speaking. These will auto-track your targets. If they are in front of you, you will be able to shoot them without having to directly face them. Okay? But there are different types. Like if we go to this plasma accelerator, these are fixed mounts. They will not be able to move. Whatever direction your ship is facing, that is the direction it will go. Okay? I recommend you do not have these weapons early in the game. I recommend you go with gimbaled weapons. In addition, there's also turreted weapons. I generally speaking do not recommend these weapons. They are just not good. They'll automatically track targets, and it can just fuck you over, and it just overall just, it does too little damage. It's a waste of money. Okay? Now, pulse lasers are, I believe, the pulse lasers, beam lasers, and what's the other one called? Well, whatever the other type of one that says lasers, these do not require ammo. Okay? They are only really good at taking out shields and hitting specific targets on an enemy. Okay? These directly pay attention to whatever your power use is. Cannons and everything else, these require ammunition. If you run out of ammunition during a firefight, you will not be able to use them. Pretty self-explanatory. So I recommend you always pack at least a few pulse lasers to, even out the odds in case you somehow run out of ammo. Okay? Generally speaking, with your Sidewinder, I wouldn't really recommend upgrading too much stuff. I would just say get higher cargo capacity, probably more fuel, and then just get as much money. I think it's like for the 400,000 credits for the Cobra Mark III. Get that, and you'll be good to screw around with whatever you want. You do not really want to upgrade the Sidewinder too much. It's not the best of vehicles. You want to try to upgrade the Cobra. Cobra goes very fast. Cobra or the Viper Mark III. Cobra Mark III or Viper Mark III. Or Viper Mark IV. Do not get the Cobra Mark IV if it's available to you. It's a piece of shit. Okay? It's awful. Do not get it. But between those ships, you want to get one of those. Viper Mark IV, Viper Mark III, Cobra Mark III. Cobra Mark III is the jack of all trades. Viper Mark III kind of is, but it's more combat oriented. And the Viper Mark IV is very combat oriented, but it has very good armor. And better hardpoint placements. So, there's that. Alright. Now, we also have universal cartographics. These will just allow you to sell your exploration data. We don't need to care about this right now. Alright, so here we are. I don't know what happened to the textures over there, but we don't care. Alright. So, we're going to click launch. Spacebar. Alright, we'll go through. Okay, now the textures are back. Whatever game. Okay. Now, generally speaking, I recommend you do the tutorial first before you do anything else. Before you dick around with your money. Alright, so here we are. Alright, now we are released.
Engines engaged.
Okay, Now, don't fucking press R. Just press R. This will allow you to lift. Then press L.
Landing gear
You will retract your landing gear. Okay? Now I'm just going to get away from here just so I don't, like, hit anything. Alright, this is about good. Alright. Now here is where it gets a little bit complicated, and you need to follow my instructions if you're going to understand. I just want to get a nice little... Oops, I'm about to hit something. Alright, there we can see Cliff Tower and the sun in the background. Alright. So, first things first is you're going to notice, what the hell is all those dots? Alright, these are just when your sensors can't pick them up. It knows that there's something over there, but they're behaving erratically because it doesn't know what they are, but you know something is over there. Alright, we don't need to care about that right now. So, first things first, you move forward, you'll increase your thrusters by pressing W. Go down by pressing S. If you reverse, you continue to press S, you can go reverse. Alright. You can directly move right by pressing D. Go left by pressing A. Alright. If you want to look up, you go up with the mouse. If you go down, you want to look down, you go down with the mouse. Now, here's where it gets a little bit complicated. If you're in the middle of a firefight and you're trying to turn, this will allow you to do it. You're not going right, you're just turning. It does the same thing with the left. May get a little bit complicated for you, but trust me, it's fine. Okay. Now, when you're on the surface, you'll see more stuff than when you're in space. You can see these little doohickeys. 0 degrees means you're directly on the surface. You won't hit anything surface-wise, usually, unless it's like a mountain. Okay? And you're at 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, whatever. Alright? Okay. Now, remember, you go up with R, so this will increase your distance, as you can see. If you want to go down, you press F. Almost hit the fucking ground there. And remember, at the top right will also show your proximity if you're too close to something, and you'll also see your thing flash a little bit. So, get a little bit away from that. Alright. Next thing, very important. If you want to go fast, you press tab. This will boost you. So go ahead and increase speed, but you'll only be able to do it for a certain amount of time. Alright, now, I think for comparison, we should see how far we just went. I think we went pretty far in that short amount of time. Alright? So, what's the next thing that we need to care about? Well, what's that blue thing that you see towards the bottom right there? Well, this is the sweet spot for distances. This will allow you to turn the best. So you keep it on here. If you're going somewhere fast, you keep it here. But if you need to turn in the middle of a firefight, you keep it here. This will allow you to turn as fast as possible. Another important thing to realize is when you are on a planet, if you put flight assist off, which is Z, you will fall towards the planet.
Flight assist on.
Okay? But when you're in space and you need to make a turn, keep Z
Flight
on.
assist
It's easier
off.
to turn.
Flight assist on.
Alright? Next thing. If you want to go back to this place, you just go here, request docking. It'll tell you where your next docking area is. Actually, we'll just do that right now just to show you guys.
Docking request granted.
Now it'll say proceed to landing pad 6. Oh look, it's the same one we had. Who would have thunk? Different ships require different landing pads. If you're using a large ship, I am not using a large ship, you will not be able to dock at certain areas, such as small space starports. So, we want to go in for the landing. Press L. This will deploy your landing gear. Q and E also move directly to the right or left without actually turning. So, this is Q and this is E. Alright, so we want to go in. So go in very slow. Now this will pop up. You want to get in the middle of this, the middle circle. This is what you want to hit. When you're immediately over it, everything will turn blue.
Docking successful.
Boom.
Engines
Easy.
disengaged.
Sometimes it's a little bit hard, but, you know, what are you going to do? So let's go and launch again.
Ship released. Engines engaged. Landing
Let's get a
gear
little bit
retracted.
far from this place, because I want to show you guys how the weapons work. Now, all areas have a no-fire zone. I think it's within 3 kilometers of the base. I think this is true for everywhere. See? Okay. We left the no-fire zone so we can use weapons. You deploy your weapons by hitting left click. Okay. It'll say out of range. Don't worry. This is just for me testing and showing you guys. Once we, you know, go to a standstill. Okay, so let's say you want to shoot something right in the face. This is how lasers work. It'll go wherever, you know, you're pointing at, essentially, or wherever your gimbals are hitting. If you want to select different targets, you press G. Okay, you want to scan this guy up, maybe not, you know. Where's this Type 7? There he is. So it'll scan in the bottom left. Alright, if it says clean, no reason to attack him, unless you want to be a pirate. Alright? It'll also tell you some other information about him by targeting his subsystems. You always want to try to target the power distributor, power plant, or the shield generator if he has one. Okay? If it says wanted, you can attack him, but do not attack him in the no-fire zone, or the base will say that you are attacking him, and it will attempt to attack you. Okay? Even if he's wanted, it will still try to attack you. That's why if someone tries to bring you to a space outpost and they want to try to attack you for your cargo, just go and try to land at the base. He'll try to shoot you. The base will fire back and kill him. Okay? Now, let's say, remember, just G cycles between all targets. Okay? If you want to put back your weapons. That's the English I'm looking for. Too bad I can't, like, speak it at all. Press U. These will retract them. You will need to retract weapons when you are going into frame shift drive. So when you're trying to leave a place. Okay. Now you see this bar over here, the one to the far right. Okay? This is a very important bar. So on planets this will only appear. If it is in the red, you are fucked. It will mean that you take serious damage to your ship, and you might die. Now, this all depends on a few factors. It depends on how you're looking to the ground and your speed, your velocity. Remember, your velocity will change depending on whatever the planet's gravity is. If it's 1G, you'll be going at 9.8 meters per second squared. If you're at half of that, you'll be going about 4.5, give or take. All right? So you will be accelerating. Now we're going to go directly up. And I'll be showing you what this looks like. In addition, bottom right, you see how it says systems, engines, and weapons. Now you move these with your arrow keys. Bottom one resets, everything's the same. Systems, this allows you to recharge your shields faster. Weapons, makes you fire your weapons more continuously. Engines, makes you go faster and be able to turn more. These will change depending on your combat situation. If the guy's fighting you but he's not really fucking looking at you, you can put everything into weapons and engines. If you're trying to escape, you want to put it in engines and systems. Okay, we're about high enough. Okay, so here we are, 10.9 kilometers above the ground. Alright. Now, because we have flight assist on, you know, it's fine. You know, we can stay here as long as we want because our vertical thrusters are keeping us here. But if we keep it like
Flight
this,
assist off.
we will begin to descend, as you can see, at a more increased rate as time goes on. Now we're at 45 meters per second. Now we're at 60. You get the point. You know how basic physics works.
Flight assist on.
Let's increase it. As you can see, we're going into downward thrust. Now it says red. You want to try to get out of the red as fast as you can. This will do it by going at a less, like a 0-degree angle. It's fine if you're at a red at like 10 kilometers, but once you get to about 7, you really need to start changing your angle. Alright, so those are basic components. Flying, a little dangerous, but we're not done. We're going to try to go to space. Alright, to actually go into frame shift drive for the area, you look up. You want to be going at about a 90-degree incline. And eventually, once you go past that little surface, you have to go above, I think, like 10 kilometers. You want to press J. Remember, J will not allow you to do it unless your weapon's rechecked. And you want to press J, and you want to go to the escape vector.
3, 2, 1, engage.
So here we are in orbital cruise. So this is clearly very different. You're going at a much increased speed at 8 kilometers per second, whatever. So it's much different. Oops. And the numbers here are different. Now, if you want to be able to go at a more planetary, if you want to be able to go through the planet very quickly, you want to go here. At exactly 0 will allow you to go at the most optimum speed and be able to let you go as fast as possible. If you go anything less than that, you'll be slowly descending. Okay, let's go to this crater. Okay, now we're going to drop from orbital cruise. This is the most dangerous part of flighting. Flighting, I'm good at English. Now here you're in glide mode. Glide mode is extremely dangerous. You want to get out of it as fast as possible. You can go good distances with glide, but it can fuck you over as you realize it was in the red. So glide, if you're good at gliding, like most people aren't. If you're good at gliding, being able to glide, you're fine. You glide as your friend. If it's not, it's very dangerous. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. So, here I'm going to show you guys how to land on a planet's surface. Now, it is a little bit tricky. Okay? But over time, it'll get easier for you. Trust me. There, I'm at least not... That's not experience. That's experience talking. It'll get easier as time progresses. Generally speaking, on icy planets, it's a lot harder. So, be wary. On icy planets, it's a little bit harder because the ice is a factor, and it's very hard to find a completely solid surface on icy planets. On rocky planets like we're on now, it is hard. It's hard, but it's not as hard as an icy planet. Icy planets are a lot more dangerous, generally speaking. It's also harder to control your SRV on the ground. Here we can actually see someone. We can see Clifford Vista. It's still a good distance away. We could travel like this if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. It takes too long. But generally speaking, you'd never want to have your flight assist off when you're on a planet's surface. Okay. So we're approaching fairly close in this area. Now I just want to remind you guys that we're going at about 240 meters per second. Just remember, you are going fairly fast. When you're in your recon vehicle on the ground, it is a lot harder. Okay, so we're about the 2.5 kilometer mark. You want to deploy your landing gear at this point. You've already determined the basic area where you think it's a lot more flat than the rest of the area. I think this is pretty decent. So we're going to try to go towards the ground. Remember, you do not want to be in the red. This is the worst part. Worst time to be in the red. You will take damage and you will die if you are not careful. That's why I do not recommend you be on a high G planet for your first landing. Okay, but here we are. Now, have you noticed the sensor reading changed? We're now on the ground that we can see. You want to try to even it out. I think this is decent. Now you want to begin to press F. You will begin to descend. Not fast. You don't want to go above 50. Like I just did, because I'm so good. Okay. If the terrain is unsuitable for landing, it will tell you. So begin to shift around. Damn it. Is it like right here? Okay, here it'll tell you to change your thing. Hold on. Okay, now it says alignment's okay. So, we want to try to descend. Press F. Go very slow. It'll probably make you change your alignment a little bit, as it does change depending on your speed. Alright, we've landed. Here we are in the depths of space. So if you want to go to your SRV, press 3, deploy. You will then enter your SRV. And bad textures will randomly appear and then get good. Okay. Now remember, the main point of this video is to not teach you how to use the SRV, so I'm not really going to explain it, but I can show you the basics, you know. You can move, basically you do the same stuff as you did before. You can have flight assist off. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but, you know, whatever. Handbrake's pretty helpful. It'll try to keep your grip and ensure that you're, like, actually stopping. As you can see, momentum on certain planets increases ridiculously. If you want to go back into your ship, you want to try to care about that bottom right. Actually, there's something over here. Oh, is that just detecting the ship? Oh, I never knew that. I never knew it would actually detect the ship. Wow, that's something new that I never realized. Now, it doesn't depend which angle you come in as long as it's just this, you know. Alright, then we have board ship. Also, you can press the home, and this will allow you to pick up cargo. This is also the same for the ship, but it's a slightly different minigame. But you get it. So you want to board the ship, press 3. You can transfer the cargo to your ship. I don't have any. SRV can only carry 2. Your ship can carry whatever. Board the ship. Your ship will grab you, and you'll be lifted up. And you can deploy the turret by pressing T or just shooting in general. Alright. So we're back in the ship. If you want to go up, you have to hold R. Your drives will begin to engage and go at a higher power. Press L and just go up back to your incline. Now remember, do not do it necessarily like that unless your entire area was flat, like mine was. If it wasn't, you might have died.
Frameshift drive charging.
And that purple thing, that shows you points of interest. We're not going to try to touch on that this video.
Engage.
Bluish purple, you know. Alright, so here we are in space. Alright. So, let's go to our first primary starport. This is probably where we'll end the video. Okay. Now, if you see at the bottom left, we have a new thing. Not the spaceship, but the platform, the little circle. Now, if you notice, it's blue with a hole in the middle. That means it is directly 180 degrees behind you. So, if you go this way, it'll slowly become normally blue. This will allow you to turn and face your direction where it is. So in our case, there's Kennedy Port. So we're going to head towards it. Now, you will not be able to jump to this area when you're close to it unless you're when you're going less than a megameter per second, so pay attention to that. Okay? So, 200 kilometers is fine. We can generally just keep going this way. An orbital in flight also engages at 1 megameter per second. 1 megameter. So here we are. We're 2.5 megameters. And then immediately at 1, it'll say slow down. And it'll say safe disengage ready. Press J. And it will automatically plot you towards that area. Here we are at Kennedy Port. There are many other different types of space stations, but this is one of the more prominent ones. I forget what it's called. It's not the Coriolis. Oculus? I seriously forget. Alright, at 6.5 kilometers, or sorry, 7.5 kilometers, you can go here and request docking.
Docking request granted.
Alright. The smaller ports that do not spin on centripetal force, you will not, you'll be able to land at, but generally speaking, you won't be able to land on them if you're in a large spaceship, large starship. Okay, here we are. This is the entrance. On Coriolis, which are basically cube octahedrons, just try to look for it. It's a pain in the ass, but just pay attention where the axis is. You'll understand over time. But here we are. Kennedy Port. The only entrance...
Scan detected.
This guy's just scanning me. He shouldn't find anything wrong with me. Unless, you know, apparently I'm a fucking evil man. Which is entirely possible. See, all done clear. Alright. So here's the entrance. You want to go on the green, not the red. I mean, you can go on the red if you want. You don't get any penalties, but, you know, ships might hit you. So here we are. Now we're going to be looking for 41. There it is. Turn. Very good. Okay. Press L, similar to how it was on planets, but here the gravity is a lot less. I think it's
Landing gear deployed.
in this particular part of the station, it's like 0.3. So it's a lot more dealable. You know, there it was 0.5, but you know, if you're on a 5G planet, it's going to be very hard to control. But here, it's a lot less. It's more like you're in space. Okay, we just land like we normally do.
Docking successful.
Boom.
Engines disengaged.
Now, generally speaking, starports have more to offer than outposts or cities on planets. Let's go to starport services. And here we can see that it's allied to the Federation. Okay, we can refuel. Now, if you notice, we actually have more stuff to deal with here. Let's go to shipyard. You can only buy shipyards at starports. You can only buy ships at starports. Here we can see your basic Sidewinder, which is what you're in right now. You can see it and compare it to other ships. Here's the Eagle. Another small ship, similar to Sidewinder. It's better, though. Viper Mark III. This is generally what you want, this or the Cobra Mark III. As you can see, they go quite fast compared to even my ship. But my ship's more tanky. Now, your price will be different. I'm at a faction that gives discounts on ships, but, you know, the Cobra Mark III is much more all-purpose. Viper is more of a hunter. You can also see who produces the ship. Falcon DeLacy, I think, is probably one of the better manufacturers. Generally all-purpose vehicles and very good combat ships. So how do we read this? You know, it's very complicated to read this, you know. So, let's look at it. The speed, this will be your top speed, clearly. You can upgrade this through thrusters and decreasing mass, all that. You speed, this will be how fast you go. This is one of the fastest ships in the game. Okay? But it balances out. It doesn't have the... It has pretty decent FSD range. Much better than the Viper. But its shield's pretty trash. But its armor is better than the Viper. So the Viper is more shield-oriented. But the Cobra's more armor-oriented. You can clearly upgrade these and change it to your own one with your shield generator. Okay? Cargo capacity. As you can see, the cargo capacity is much different. You probably want to go with the Cobra. Okay? In fact, how many... Okay, they do have the same hard points. So, 2 utility mounts. You can put on shield boosters, chaff launcher, all this other stuff that can help you during combat. Now, hard points. These are different. Small hard points are the smallest possible hard points. Who would have thunk? Okay, so they do the least amount of damage, and there's only a specific amount that you can put there. Medium hard points generally do more damage. Now, with the Cobra, generally speaking, I'd recommend putting your pulse lasers, beam lasers, whatever, on the small, and probably putting your more kinetic weapons, i.e., miniguns, on the medium. Perhaps you disagree with me. Whatever. Both ways is better. Now, internal compartments. This is fairly important. These allow you to put different things on your ship. So if you want to have the SRV, this is very important to notice. So you have 3 size 2. So we could have one of those dedicated to whatever, and for that, it's for the SRV, and then for the size 4, and you can see all this other stuff. Okay, so here we have a planetary approach suite built in, and a basic discovery scanner, which will help you discover planets in a system. So what are some other ships here? Viper Mark IV. Generally speaking, I find this to be quite a good ship, but it's a good starting ship, and don't buy this piece of shit. Now, generally speaking, I'm not a trader because I don't like it, but if you want to go trading and make a good amount of money, I'd go to type vehicles, type 6, type 9, type 7, and these are built by Lake and Spaceways. These allow you to have ridiculous amounts of cargo capacity. Here it's 50 tons. That's more than any other early game ship, but it balances out. Virtually no defenses. And if you want to go as far as possible, you will not have a shield generator equipped. This makes you a prime target for pirates, so be careful. Keelback, doesn't serve too much of a purpose. It's more like the Type 6, but just more damage-oriented. However, it doesn't serve much of a purpose as of right now, because it doesn't allow you to have... We don't have the fighter bay yet, but once it does have the fighter bay, this will be a very viable ship, and I will recommend it. Anaconda, this is one of the god-tier late-game ships. 124 million credits. This thing's god-tier. Do not fuck around with an Anaconda early game, unless you have other ships attacking it. The Anaconda will rip you to shreds, especially if you're in a Sidewinder. You might be able to pull this off in a Viper Mark IV or a Cobra, but you will not be able to pull it off all that well in a Sidewinder unless you're actually a very good, intuitively good pilot. So there you go. That's all the basic overviews of some of the ships here. There are many more ships, but these are just the ones here. Okay? So, on all places, there's local news. Okay? Let's tell you some bounty hunter stuff. Lots of bounties claimed. Not really, 7. It's much more in other systems, such as Alpha Fornicus, whatever it is, or other places where there are rings around a planet where there are resource extraction sites. Now, these are good if you want to be a miner or if you want to be a bounty hunter, especially hazardous resource extraction sites. If you are a bounty hunter, you want to go to a hazardous resource extraction site. You will have no assistance from police authority, but you will be able to make a ton of money from the ships that you kill there. Just so you know. Okay? So, there's another thing I really didn't cover. Commodities market. Now, every space station has this, to my knowledge. I haven't really seen one without it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm on drugs, but who knows? So here we can see that there's clearly a lot of stuff here. And these obviously change depending on, whatever the economy of the system is. I don't know what it is here, but who cares? So, now, basically, if it has a supply, you can buy it from here. Okay? So let's see here. Buying, it's 112 credits apiece. But the galactic average is 147 credits. So if I was to get a lot of it, make some decent money. I wouldn't recommend doing it with, something with that small of a cost. Profit. I'd much more do it with, the food cartridges. It's 45 credits, but the galactic average is 206. Making some decent profit there. Okay? If it has a supply, you can buy it, and demand is good, right? And demand generally means they don't have it. Okay? And so that goes through multiple different places, you know, different things. Alright, so it goes from, you know, metals, minerals, textiles, weapons, whatever. And does this place... No, it doesn't have a black market. Okay. So that's basically all you need to know. However, there is one thing I want to show you. Let's launch. So let's say, you know, Jonathan, how do I get out of the system I'm in? Well, don't you worry. I'm going to show you.
Released. Engines engaged. Landing gear retracted.
Now, one of the most important things, and this really only applies to when you're in space, if you notice at the bottom left it says we're mass locked. If we're mass locked, we cannot frame shift drive out of here until that becomes orange again. No matter what you do, you will not be able to do it unless you increase distance from the space station. But, alright, see, there we go. We can now frame shift drive. But let's go somewhere. You know, I just love good old pad haze. So we're gonna plot the distance. That's how we do it here. And you know, if we want to see what this is, what's in good old pad haze? Here we can see the economy. Oh man, it's got places. It's got an Earth-like and some space stations. These are the smaller space stations, by the way, the ports and you know all this other stuff. They're small. All right, here we go. Now, if you notice at the bottom left, oh man, look, it's the blue dot again because we placed our stuff there. So we're going to turn. And to stop targeting something, you press T, by the way. Oh, look, there's pad haze. So what do we do? Press J. We'll charge up your frame shift drive. If you're closer to the object that's trying to mass lock you, it will take more time. Alright. So you can see it's charging up.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
And here we are. And I think it's like witch space. I think that's what they call it. Alright, here we are at the planet. If you have a fuel scoop, I'm going to show you how to use it. Sorry, the planet.
Fuel scooping.
The sun. This is how you do it. The faster you go, the more fuel you do. But you have to pay attention to your heat. Bottom right is your fuel. Always pay attention to it.
Complete.
If it's very low, you're kind of going to get fucked. Okay, but there we are. We are now in
Fuel
our
scoop
second system.
disengaged.
Alright. But let's say we want to go back and, oh man, like I don't remember where I was. Go to navigation. If you remember what it was called, Opila, it'll bring you there. You can just plot the route again.
Frame shift drive charging.
And, you know, we're going to frame shift drive back there. Oh, Pilla's independent. I didn't even know that.
4, 3,
So you learn something new every day, folks.
1. Engage.
Alright, here we are back at Opila. Also, generally speaking, when you're using a fuel scoop, you will not be able to fuel scoop
Fuel
from
scooping.
neutron stars, brown dwarfs,
Fuel scoop
and black holes. Who would have
disengaged.
fucking thought? Okay? So, now, pay attention to your speed. If you're going above 0.1 of a light times the speed of light, you'll take damage with what I'm about to do. So let's say you need to really, for whatever reason, exit orbital cruise. Press J twice. You will drop there. This is good if you know pirates are in the area and you want to outweight them. Just sit here for a little bit. There we are, in the darkness of space, but with the sun here to our left. All right, so that's how you do it. You want to go as slow as possible, or you will spin out and take damage. And obviously, if it wasn't obvious enough, that is our damage right there, the 100%. 100% is how much health we have. The blue is our shields, if you didn't get that one.
Frameshift
And again,
drive charging.
Just do it like this.
4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Alright, so there's your basic controls. Basic how I do this, Jonathan. Really dangerous. Certainly could have been more concise, but that's basically what it is. If you do need more information, I'd go see some of Obsidian Ant's videos or Commander Chaos Wolf. So, that's it for me. Good luck, Commanders, and make sure you wear pants or you'll die in space. I don't know if you knew.